artist, bubbly and very involved. And I know that you are going to enjoy her presentation this morning. So we welcome Miss Graves to the platform and to do her presentation this morning. Thank you.
Hi, good morning, students. Good morning, admin. Good morning, everybody. My name is Shanika Grimes. I'm a local artist here in Barbados, and I am the founder of my small company, Artist Made. So I'll give you a little bit of backdrop on how I came about in terms of my business. Right now, I have my own functional studio, so that was one of my main achievements. I'm really excited about that. I guess I could give you a little peek around. It's not the tiniest right now, but have a little look. So it's kind of like it has a little classroom setting to it. That's my apprentice Chelsea sneaking about. That's my little shelf where I sell some of my products, and I'll bring you back into me. So I have a functional studio where I teach classes. I do my admin work at my little office chair because art does have a significant the running of any business, because you have to think of yourself when you're an artist as an entrepreneur, because you're operating your own practice, and that involves keeping track of your books, managing your stock, like your canvas, your brushes, the things you need to work with, the assistance that you might need. Because I teach classes now during COVID time, I need to use a bit more raw materials in terms of my brushes for our students being disposable. So there's a lot of things you wouldn't think about that go into the operation of an artist-based business. So my first studio was actually over in King Garden, over by like the dwellings and where the Mill restaurant is now. And I had built that from some raw materials from my mother's old house, like some green heart and stuff she has. So I had built a lovely little chattel house. I think the BIDC had assisted me at the time and found access with some small funding to get that studio going. All the while I was actually a part-time teacher still at Alexandra School. And I will tell you why. One, I like teaching. I won't lie. I really do like children. I like teaching children. I like sharing, and I like being in a creative space with other people who are interested in what I do. So that's a major part of my business. Now I teach private classes. However, the teaching, I was alternating between part-time and full-time, filling in for persons when they went on a term's leave. And the full-time teaching was really never for me, because whenever I was full-time teaching, I was not able to practice my work in terms of painting enough. By the time I'm done teaching 5 full days a week, I don't want to see any more work. So if I had a preference for any type of teaching, it would be part-time teaching. So at this point in time, I have my current studio, because what happened was that smaller studio, I wanted to expand the business in terms of I host private camps, and I had before COVID about 22 lesson students, so I would have needed more space. And the limitations of having like a landlord over you is that, well, they can tell you what you can and can't do with the space because it's not truly yours. So my current studio is in fact my space, and that gives me a lot more flexibility in terms of expanding the business and not having to answer to anyone in terms of the choices that I need to make for the business. So I have the little classroom setting that I showed you with the little shelf, and my little office table is somewhere about where I sit and I do my admin work. That is not at all the fun part of my job. I don't love it, but I'm still somewhat a very organized person, even though that's not something that I really like to do. So a typical day for me is I wake up, I eat something gluten free because I have a lot of allergies. I don't know if that's part of my motivation to be creative, finding food when I can't eat nothing. So I get up, I get a nice breakfast, I drink my chai frap or hot chai tea, of course with almond milk because I'm allergic to dairy as well. And then I come downstairs, I do about an hour of administrative duties like organizing for the week. Typically we would have like classes on a Friday and Saturday, and then we would have like corporation things. So I work in the hotel industry by extension. I do a lot of work for like some of the more prominent hotels. They don't like their names to be mentioned. They're too bougie for me. So I go into their kids clubs and I teach private classes to the students the children that will be here on vacation as a form of entertainment for them. So I work in terms of organizing my calendar. I would come down if any bookings came in from the previous day where I was off. I would come down, enter my bookings into my calendar, and then I would proceed with about 8 to 10 hours of work every day. So sometimes I go over, because as a painter, sometimes when you're in the mode of painting, like I paint small to larger portraits, sometimes when you're in the mode of doing what you do, there's some sort of background noise. I don't know if someone turned on their mic. I'm getting like a ocean sound coming through the microphone, or can everyone just check? Yeah, thank you. So I would typically paint for as long as I can without like hurting my wrist or whatever on the day. Sometimes I have like projects where I have to work off site. So I would pack my items, me and my apprentice, because I have younger artists that come in and help me with my work. So they would come with me to off-site work or do some of the preparation, like stretching canvas, priming canvas, setting up projects and stuff with me to make sure that the workload is manageable for me, because lately it has gotten actually kind of busy, so I have to be careful not to overextend myself. So having a business too is appreciating the fact that you can't do everything by yourself. Someone does my accounts for me, persons come in and out to assist me with work at varying levels. So that's my typical work day. Whatever art I have to do, whether it's a portrait, whether it is preparing for a corporate party, like we have to put all the paints and the brushes together and make sure that everything is ready. I come down and I do 8 to 10 hours of that on a typical work day. What I like most about my job is that I get to paint every day. I do love my work. I mean, I don't know if I would be able to handle an adult reality without painting. Adulting is not easy. Working around my son, I have an 11-year-old son, that's not easy. So being able to sit and paint pretty things, like my unicorn behind me, I paint backdrops and murals as well, bedrooms, and I've decorated studio spaces. I do signage, anything really with painting, I do. So one of my favorite things is painting. I do love that. I'm making things and coming up with new ideas. Fun. What I don't like, I think I already bellyached about the accounting and the numbers and I have to make sure that I have enough canvas on site to be able to work at least a 50-person set of orders in a week. So say I have 5 orders that equate to 10 pieces each, whether it's because we do like the canvas kits and stuff. Well, I don't know if I showed you. So I have like these little packages where people work at home. This is like one of the products that I work on here at my studio. So people buy them for like birthdays and stuff. And sometimes they get the blank canvas because I come in and then I teach from scratch what they're supposed to do when they drink their wine and stuff. So I have to make sure that stock-wise, based on analytics, so you have to like go back and see what happened with your business, make notes about what generally you would need. Say you do about 50 people a month, you need to make sure you have 50 canvases, 50 brushes, a certain amount of apprentice hours so that your business can function. It is a lot of thinking and a lot of admin work, which I do not love. That hurts my neck. The admin work is not for me. But to do what you love, you have to understand that it comes with other things. That you're getting the 80% of pursuing the career of your choice, and it's gonna maybe come with putting up with some clients that you don't really like, maybe putting in a few extra hours more than you would like to because you have deadlines. So there are some drawbacks to even the dream, because you have to make it a reality with hard work behind it. You can't just assume it's going to be all glitters and flowers, because the sale of art is actually quite difficult business, and it's a luxury service. It's not like food-based where you're getting people every day. So you have to be very strategic about how you're going to make it work. And I've had to be extremely creative about how I've made it work for me, and very flexible. Because left up to me, I would probably just paint whatever I feel like painting on a day, but I realized that I can streamline a steady income for myself to sustain me and my son by leaning into what other people want painted. You know, doing things for my customers, hearing their stories, you know, painting about their weddings, painting their portraits, painting someone that passed away, and including other people has actually been very good for me. You know, hearing all these stories about people's lives, I didn't know I would like it till I started doing it. So that's another thing, that you have to be flexible and willing to let things in so that you can grow. Don't just be like, I want to do this. You don't know that you want to do that because you haven't been given any other options. You have to open up your mind so that you can always be taking in other options so that you can grow, and so that what you want can expand and become more mature as you age. How did I have to qualify? I did CAPE Visual Arts, I did mathematics. I passed that by the grace of the Lord. CAPE Math is murder. As I remember, there were 17 students in my class at QC, and only 4 of us in the class that didn't do Ag Math actually passed Cape Math. It was murder. But it has really helped me understanding numbers in terms of running my business. So then I did English literature at Cape and communication and comm studies. All of those things, though the math doesn't seem relevant, it was very relevant to my pursuit. And then crossing over into, I did the associate's degree for visual arts at BCC. Very good, internationally accredited program. You don't have to break the bank doing your first 2 years. If you're going to do a master's, you can do your associate's degree here and your bachelor's and then move on. That will cut down on some of your tuition costs, because you don't want to spend a whole mortgage amount on your education, especially if it's not necessary. Because for art, for me, the most important thing is to show proficiency. Like, no amount of paperwork is going to forgive a bad painting. You know what I mean? So as much as the paperwork helps me to start off, because I'm not a trust fund baby, I had to work very hard to do what I'm doing. Having an actual job allowed me to fund what I really wanted to do. And I wouldn't mind even, like, I would say that there's nothing, because I have friends that live and work overseas that have 3 jobs. So there's nothing wrong with having your business and also having a job. You need to have stable revenue so that you're not so hungry trying to get a dollar that you undersell the value of your work. You know, because a lot of people are working for really scratch grain based on being very good at their practice because they are so desperate to make a sale. So having a job as you develop your career is not a bad thing. I know a lot of people think, oh, you need to be an entrepreneur that's starving to get it right. No, you need to be strategic whatever choice you make. And starving is going to make you make bad choices. Trust me. When you're hungry, you'll do anything for the bread. So make sure that you have your bread so that you can be creative about your pursuits and your mind is clear and relaxed. So I did the CAPE, then I did the associate's degree, and then I did the bachelor's of fine arts, and I did very well in all of those areas. Because once you start to get into your tertiary education, you should be doing something that you can naturally do well, that interests you. You don't want to choose being an artist like me and you're not interested in that career path. Yeah? In terms of like being what you would say an untrained artist, there are some people that are very talented naturally, but I still think that having the paperwork behind you as an artist, because it's hard to garner respect as an artist. You know, people think it's some ways whimsical under a coconut tree, not intellectual pursuit, especially here in Barbados. Maybe in overseas it might be a little bit more respectable profession, but I still get this vibe like, you know, I chose art because I wasn't otherwise intelligent, which is not true. I chose art because it's my passion. I excelled in physics and biology and other subjects, but this is my passion. So don't let anybody convince you to be a doctor and then you're unhappy. You know what I mean? If this is who you are, go for it. So I would say yes, you may be talented enough to get the job done. Will people respect you without a degree here in Barbados? I would argue strongly that it would be very difficult. It's possible, depending on how well connected you are, but I would say paperwork is always good backup. So if you have your degrees behind you to stand on, in terms of like, I pursued this and I did this the right way, and I have my qualifications to say I'm a professional in this area, because everybody wants to see paperwork. For one reason or another, I feel as though having my bachelor's degree did get me a lot of opportunities, even though the talent wasn't about the degree. It makes you official the type of way. So you should still pursue some upstanding paperwork to have your back, you know? Yes, so I did tell you that you can do up to your bachelor's here. There are online programs for art, but in terms of when I was researching it, everything internationally is still quite pricey in terms of the Barbados dollar being half the amount, so you're to end up paying double the amount. And I don't think it's necessary for you to spend that money up front unless you're pursuing a master's. Yeah? So then you would, like, 1/3 of your degree would pretty much be very relatively low cost, because our government has at least done us that service, that education is relatively low cost here. Even at its most expensive, we are still really reasonable in terms of the cost of education globally. I'm kind of like embarrassed to say the cost of my study. I mean, I must have spent probably less than 10K overall for the 5 years because when I did it, it was free. I think it's free again now. I'm free in the sense you have to pay like a little $450 a year or something like that and buy your own materials, and that's probably where the bulk of the money came from. So I actually did online art party, like a paint and sip. I do them internationally, and the conversation that we were having was that people that are 30 years old are 150,000 US dollars in debt over their education. So where now I'm able to invest in my studio because I don't have any debt on file. And don't go buying a car straight off the bat like that because that's gonna affect your ability to buy property. These people struggling with these college loans. In my age category, I'm about 30. I'm 31. So people are struggling with paying back these loans for the next 10 years till they're 40, and they can't afford a mortgage. So you have to be careful not to let your student loan debt get in the way of your future, because having that financial flexibility might actually help you to build a business. And a lot of people who are successful entrepreneurs don't have college degrees. I'm saying you should have one. I think so. But don't break the bank on it. Just get a decent university where you can get your paperwork, show that you've been properly trained for the position, but don't put yourself in debt for the brand name universities unless you get a scholarship or somebody else is paying for it. So for art, you need obviously to, or any design field, you need to, for architecture, any of the design fields, interior decorating, you should have a base of art or technical drawing. In my case, the technical drawing wasn't really necessary because I'm a very organic painter. But having art for sure will be a good base for any design field. Whether you're going into fashion, whether you're going into architecture, as I would have said, interior design. Even for engineering, it might be a good base because they have to do a lot of drawings and stuff for that profession. So when you have a design base, you can do anything from designing t-shirts, because we get a base level, especially in this modern way of teaching art, of introduction to Photoshop and using certain digital programs, even from a fine art program. So you can get into making your own product labels, you can get into designing backdrops and banners, and there's a multitude of things you can do with a background in art and design. And if you're going into building your own products, there's jewelry, clothing. You don't even have to like sew the clothing. You can do like hand painting on top of clothing. That's pretty fancy now. What else can you do? There's a lot of different face painting. Like when outside of COVID, you do actually make a killer amount from face painting. It might surprise you because it's like $75 an hour. So if you're working like 4 hours, that's like $300 for half the day. So don't underestimate how much money you can make from pursuing, like working with your hands and doing something creative, yeah? Because people have brand names attached to certain professions, and I know a lot of people who studied law who are at entry-level salary up to this point, and they've been in the field for at least 5 years. So don't let anybody fool you and make you feel like as though, oh, art is not going to make any money. It's how you do it, per se. So you have the face painting. Oh, if you're good with your hands, I see like all these balloon crafts and decorating. You can do a certificate in that from having studied art and add an additional edge. And people make a good, decent living from decorating as well. I see someone raise their hand. Am I supposed to be receiving questions at this time?
Yeah, no, sir. I was just wondering if is that still allowed during Corona?
What? Face painting?
Yes, ma'am.
No, not right now. I wouldn't recommend it. No. And if anyone, I'm not saying it's not allowed, but it's not practical because before COVID, you reuse some of the items, like reuse the brushes and stuff that you apply the paint with. But now if you do it, everything would have to be disposable. So it is allowed and possible, I guess, but it would just be more expensive to set up because for each child you have to change your equipment. And that's going to cost the person who hires you a lot more money. So there's a way around it. I wouldn't say it's not allowed because makeup art is still working, all know, and it's similar. You just have to find a way to make it sterile. Yeah, I'm not pursuing it. I used to do it before COVID as well, but I'm not pursuing it right now. It's too complicated for me personally. I don't want to be that hands-on at this point in time. um, oh, starting salary, you can make anywhere from like $2,000 a month up to $10,000 a month in turnover. What you make, because there's like how much your company earns, and there's how much you make after everything comes out. So typically, as an artist, because our materials here are so expensive, if you're making $5,000 a month, you're making $2,500 a month generally, because the materials are gonna account for, in my business, the materials account for half of what I need in terms of my studio, paying off my assistants, materials. So if I charge you $800 for a portrait, I'm probably getting 4. Yeah? So it's like, that's why I'm like, if anybody challenges me about the prices of my work, I'm just like, okay, well, thank you for your time. It's been so lovely to have you, and that you invited me into your space and you called me, and I hope you find someone that can help you. I don't apologize for my prices, because I know what goes into my work, and that's something that you should understand as well. Know your value. There's always going to be somebody willing to pay more, and there's always going to be somebody complaining that it's too expensive. Just stand your ground about what you decided on price point wise. Everyone is not your customer, and that's okay. Oh dear. Right, so public sector. Ooh, Noah, you have a question? Say it. Go ahead.
State school do classes?
Like lessons and stuff? Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes, they do lessons. Yes. Here at my studio, I'm in Oxnard St. James. Yeah. So one of the main, someone else is asking a question. Go ahead. I want you guys to get your words in before they cut me off. I've said a lot. Go ahead.
How much are your classes?
This turned into an ad. Message me on Instagram, man. Message me on Instagram. My contact information is on my Artist Made Barbados Instagram. I can't boycott the people presentation into an ad.
She said that she doesn't do Instagram. It's okay. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. It is $100 for 4 consecutive sessions. They're an hour each. Is a group session, or $35 per session if you come in at my place randomly. Yeah. Any other questions? You guys got me laughing. Any questions? Just throw yourself in. I don't mind answering them. I would have mentioned that I was a teacher. I was a teacher for 7 years part-time. Really enjoyed it, except when I had to fill in for somebody full-time, because then I have reduced flexibility in terms of what I want to do. I don't mind teaching, but it's always second to the fact that I need to paint or I'm going to lose my money. I'm not friendly when I don't get to paint. I need to paint. That's all the questions?
Somebody asked how you get your art out there.
I pay for ads, because I'm not like, I'm friendly, but I'm not like out there in every party up in people's face. So Instagram ads are one of the most cost-effective ways to get a viewership. So say, like, I would just tell you my running budget for Instagram ads is about $400 a month. And I get a lot of visibility for my work that way, because I'm not out there, I'm in the studio painting. How are people going to see me? I have to be here doing the actual work. So to mitigate the fact that I'm not out there saying hi to everybody, I pay for my advertising. And even companies that are worth billions of dollars that everybody knows about, they pay for their advertising. KFC, Chefette, they're always in your face, and you already know to eat them. They have buildings everywhere. You have to pay, be willing to invest in your visibility. If you're a socialite and you have the time to run around and be sociable and meet everybody, you can do that. That's very effective. I don't have that time, so I pay for my ads.
Let them know where somebody asked where the studio is located again.
It's just at the corner of Oxnard Crescent, St. James, below Melbourne Sports Club. But you gotta call me first. You can't pull up on me. I'm real jittery. And then you distract me and you're painting the eyelash and you show. I'm like, what do you want? So just, you can get me, let your parents call me, because y'all don't got the TIN number, right? So since you don't have Instagram, I guess I can give you my number. It's 241-3280. 241-3280. Let your parents call me. I don't want to talk to nobody that don't pay bills about nothing to do with reserving. Yeah. Any more questions? Oh, and I do TikTok. That one I don't pay for. It's just like, TikTok is a cute little popularity contest, and I like it, and it's very fun and relaxed. Hi, Savannah.
I see what you're talking to.
Yeah. So I can socialize on social media because that only takes like about 15 minutes to an hour a day instead of trying to go out to a party and spend 3 hours. I don't have time for that. I really don't. I gotta pay it. Mm-hmm. More questions?
Do you know a course when it comes to logo designing?
You do your bachelor's in graphic design specifically, which is like you do visual arts. Everybody does visual arts in the first degree. Then you can streamline into if you're going to be a fine artist or if you're going to be a graphic designer. And graphic design covers logo design, label design, everything. We have a very good program here at BCC.
Could you repeat the last four digits of the number? You said 241
3280.
3280.
Yeah.
Student partners after lesson 9.
Yes, that's me, girl. I outside. I do parties, birthday parties and stuff here.
Pardon?
I do birthday parties and stuff in my studio, like art parties. You know the paint and sips for adults and children. Yeah.
That's how I know we were there for my daughter's birthday.
Oh yes, hello. The customers. Thank you for coming. Yeah. Question Lesu.
Thank you.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Did it come and get your art stolen?
Pardon?
Is it coming to get your art stolen?
No, not here. I'm not like cause the value of my art, right? The value of my art is to the person that purchases it. I am not Picasso. That the value of my art is international, and once I have a Picasso, it's worth $71 million. And at 31, I'm still like art student or apprentice age on an international sphere. Artists that are worth like millions of dollars are usually like much older, like in their 50s and like seasoned for the longest while, like they're starting to ferment kind of age. So I've been very strategic about selling my work because I don't have that I am old brand name. I'm old to some, but not as an artist. I'm still considered quite young, so nobody's gonna steal my work like that. It's valuable to the person who it's for. I have paintings on the walls outside overnight and stuff. People admire them, and then how can you even steal a painting? What you gonna do with it? Keep it under your bed? People are gonna know it's mine because I post it all over social media. Any more questions?
Yes, sir.
Uh-huh.
Mama, your art lessons online.
How much is it? Is it the same as regular art lessons? Yeah.
No, Mom, I said I go to your art lessons online.
Who's this?
Kenya, Mom.
Oh shoot, Kenya! It's so good to hear you. I didn't know I would have run into you on the interwebs. Ah, yes, my people are everywhere. Oh dear. More.
What's your page?
Everything to do with me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok is Artist Made Barbados. Artist Made Barbados is a label for all of my social media. I got a little wild in some of my videos because I want you to see I'm a real person. Teachers and career professionals, they have lives outside of work, and it's good to integrate that into your brand. People are always telling me, I like your work also because I like you. So personal branding wise, you'll see like artists, musicians, they have to tie their persona into what they do. It's part of the branding. You think that Fenty is selling because they're the best underwear in the world? They're selling because Rihanna made them. So beware of you if you're going to go the personal brand route. Because some people don't put themselves into the work. They go with like a gallery or so. I ain't really like that because I have to make the work first and then hope I get paid. The way I do things is that you pay me and then I make the work. Love that. Yes, Mr. Osborne, I can't tell if it's a girl or a boy. I see D. Osborne.
I'm a girl.
Okay.
I have a question, but I don't know how to explain the question.
Let me ramble and see if we get somewhere. Are you listening?
So I made this design based off of someone,
Mm-hmm.
but the article I wrote behind it, how do you get that out there? Like is the meaning that important?
I would say it varies. It depends on the market you're in. If you're going like for a gallery to sell your work, the meaning is everything, pretty much. But if you're selling like,
Clothing design brand.
pardon?
A clothing design brand.
Oh, clothing design, no. Clothing, the fashion industry is all about aesthetics and how pretty it is. But for a student though, the meaning is important because you're still covering the requirements of a syllabus. And in the syllabus, the teacher is your customer, so you have to fulfill their needs. Think of your teacher as your customer. If that customer is not happy, it doesn't matter who else likes it. You're getting paid from that customer in terms of your grade. So just, because art is subjective, you have to please the customer that you're dealing with at that point in time. I don't want to go over into anybody else's time. It's 10:16. Tell me, sure now. Is there a Q&A period or?
There's a 50-minute grace period in
Oh.
between. If they want to ask questions,
Yeah.
I wouldn't cut them off.
No problem. Let's go. Any more questions? Oh, I was very strategic. Naya, yes, I'll listen to you.
Sonia Chapman has her hand raised, and Naya.
I'm listening. I know see it pop up. Go, Naya.
Have you ever felt like when you studied art that you didn't want to do it because you saw other people that were better?
No?
Or is that
I don't care what nobody else doing. Honestly, like from the time I was little, I was very much to myself. I seem friendly, but I spend a lot of my time just sitting with myself and being comfortable with myself. And as an artist, you have to have confidence in you doing your personal best. Because there are people who cannot paint half as good as me that are millionaires. Don't worry about what anybody else is doing that making way more money than me. Because part of being a good artist is having confidence in yourself and your journey. Don't worry about what the other people are doing. I even have had students as a teacher that are way better than the ones that are getting 100% because they're giving 100%. So don't worry about talent. Don't worry about how it looks. Worry about being consistent, practicing, and being proud of yourself and encouraging yourself, but still open to criticism of people like that can improve you. Don't always be fighting for what you know at 15 and 12 years old. Allow people to enrich you. Like, I still got customers that's dragging me by my weave all now, and I have to smile and be like, okay, I'm going to do it your way, even though I think I know better. And sometimes the difference they ask for improves me. So you have to be open-minded and also still confident in yourself. Don't worry about what nobody else is doing. More questions?
Thank you, Nia. Thank you, Nia. Riansky is asking if you do interior design.
I don't do interior design. I paint large scale murals, like this cutesy one here. I also paint like decorative murals with like palm trees and fish swimming for